Good evening, sports fans, and welcome back to another edition of The Official Show. And with us again tonight, we have official and clinician, Miss Lori Jordan. Thank you, Lori, for coming back.
My pleasure to be here.
If you enjoyed our first episode, we had a little man-woman cave thing going on, talking about the enjoyment of officiating. Tonight's episode, we're going to go through point by point how you become an official. We left you off. We said it's so much fun. We love doing it. Guess what? Tonight, you're going to actually find out, what do I do first? What do I do second? What website do I go to, etc. So, Lori, thank you for coming back.
My pleasure.
And for making this PowerPoint specifically for this show. Lori, tell us again who you are, what you do, and tell us a little something about IOCA.
All right, my name is Lori Jordan. I'm a football official here in the state of Illinois. I have a rank of C, which is one of the highest rank you can earn, and we'll get into that later. I'm also a clinician. I am the only woman clinician for football in the state of Illinois, and so I'm very deeply invested in educating and getting officials to stay and do more sports than they started with.
And thank you, and we're very privileged that you agreed to take your time to come out and share that with us. So let's get into it. Lori had created a beautiful PowerPoint. So I hope you have your pencil and paper ready and enjoy it. Lori, you're going to own this show tonight. So whenever you're ready.
All right, I hope I don't use too much jargon or acronyms, so Mike, stop me if I do, so that we make sure everybody knows it. And in this day and age, I think they're going to have a hard time finding paper and pencil. So
Yeah,
get your cell phone out and get ready to take pictures of what's on the screen.
Let's leave that up. So Grady, we want to go ahead and get our first shot of the PowerPoint, please. There we go. All right, and we are ready. It's showtime.
All right, so if you want to start officiating high school sports, perhaps you saw your child or your nephew or your neighbor's child playing a sports, you saw the officials and you think, I can do that. Where do you start? Well, these days, every place we start for any information is Google. So now if you go ahead and Google high school sports officiating or football officiating or youth baseball officiating, you'll get millions of sites. So where do you go from there? Well, in the state of Illinois, we go to the IHSA.org site. Now, IHSA stands for Illinois High School Association. This is our governing body, our licensing body. We have to get that license from the state of Illinois before we step on a field. And most schools, most assigners won't even hire you until you can provide that number showing that you've got the proper credentials to become an official.
There's some legal, you can come back to us, Grady. There are some legal ramifications with that. If you have an IHSA official officiating your game and there's an injury, we have insurance for that. The game is sanctioned by the Illinois High School Association. If you don't have a patch, okay, there I go. This is a patch. That's what we call our patch. If you don't have that, you're not covered.
That's right. You have no insurance, and the school has no credibility for hiring you, so they're in trouble
There's
also.
a lot of trouble. Could be incredible medical bills. So you want to make sure that when your child is out there on a field, and you see an umpire out there, you want to look for this or the sanctioned organization.
Exactly. So when you go to IHSA.org, here is the opening screen that you're going to see. There's tons of information. The IHSA sponsors over 20 different sports, everything from dance and badminton, lacrosse, esports, bass fishing, all these different sports. So when you come to this particular screen, where do you go from here?
Okay, let me jump in there again. Bass fishing.
Absolutely.
They throw a flag for putting the hook in the wrong way or illegal bait or a non-official worm.
You got to weigh those fish, and you can't put lead weights in the fish and then weigh them.
And you got to look and see to make sure the worm has the IHSA stamp or let's go. That's being silly.
So on this website, there's so much information. Where do you start? So here you want to go to this tab that says officials.
Run a little circle around it so that, there we go.
Right here. All right, and that's where you want to start. When you click on that tab, this is what comes up. And all the information, all the details about what the officials department is. The IHSA is divided up so that there's sports-specific administrators, there's executive administrators. We have the IHSA that sanctions activities like your chess club and other activities, and that's all part of it.
This is a major industry.
Yes, it is. And so when you get to the officials department, down here at the bottom is where it says start the application process. And it is a process. It's not difficult if you know what you're looking for, but if you don't know what you're looking for, it can be daunting.
Hopefully we can help you out with that tonight.
So click on start the application process, and it actually has a short video by Mr. Sam Knox, who is the boss of all the officials, how to become a licensed official. It gives you some background, like what it's going to cost, that it's going to be $70 for your license. That includes an arbiter account, it includes your insurance, it includes a background check. There's any number of things.
And please take a minute and explain Arbiter. You mentioned Arbiter.
Arbiter is an assigning software that many of the assigners around the state. In Illinois, you very seldom go knocking on a high school door and say, I'm here, I'll do your game. They work through assigners who assign officials to appropriate level games for the official skill level. And so Arbiter is the software they use for it. IHSA is now paying their postseason playoff officials through this system. So it's coming. It's basically a huge database.
Yes, you go to Arbiter, you register with them. I think it's about $5 or something like that. You have self-assigned games. There's a whole menu with hundreds and hundreds of games. Find one close to you, click, that's your game.
And the IHSA is trying to streamline that process and have all the assigners use the arbiter that the IHSA provides, so we don't have to pay those $5 to every assigners. So we'll see how that works out. It's new this year, but it promises to be something really good. So when it says click here to get started, that's exactly what you do. Here's another screen, and this screen is very helpful. It tells you about the officials conference in Peoria and all the benefits of that. It tells you your registration fees, so on and so forth. Okay, here's an important part. This is the next screen in the licensing process. If you have ever officiated any sport in Illinois and had been registered, then you start at one of these top two levels.
That means if you officiated eons ago and decide that you want to come back.
20 years ago, if you did 2 softball games or you did youth basketball at the junior high level and were patched, they're going to have a record of it. So you're no longer brand new. They'll retrieve your number, so on and so forth. Go ahead, Mike.
If you are brand new.
If you are brand new, you come down here and click where it says brand new. And they're going to ask for all kinds of information, your name. They will ask for your birthday. They're going to ask for your social security number. Now you may say, why are they asking for my social security number? They're not my employer. They're just going to license me. Because of insurance regulations, because of the way schools operate now, and because of our society, they have to do background checks. They have to do not just the basic, okay, you don't have any ticket background check. They have to make sure that your background checks out. You're going to be on the field with children. In the case of wrestling, you're going to be in the locker room with children. So they want to check that out.
No fingerprints. They don't fingerprint.
Not at this point, no.
Maybe down the road.
But also as an official, I want to make sure I'm working with someone.
That's a very good point.
You know, you just never know. So they do ask for your social security number. Then they want to know a way to get in contact with you, because your number is assigned through the internet, your communications come through the internet, so you have to give them an email address, a cell phone number, whatever.
My number is 79647.
Mine is 48570. And you learn that number very quickly
you'll
because
remember.
every pay voucher and
There it is.
everything you
The
get
IHSA number.
is very important, and you learn it very quickly. So here's the path to success in becoming an official. First of all, you have to decide what sport do you want to officiate. Do you want to do baseball? Do you want to do softball? Do you like to work inside? So maybe you want to do volleyball or badminton. Maybe you want to get involved on the
Bowling.
ground floor, bowling, ground floor of the esports network that's coming up. Or maybe you like to be outside. Well, do you like to be outside in the fall and do
That's
football?
right.
Do you want to be outside in the spring, do baseball, soccer? Do you want to do dance? Do you want to do swimming, track and field, diving? There's many, many sports. So you have to kind of decide where you're going to
It
start.
does get cold out there.
Oh, and spring is brutal. I think it's colder than
We've
football
lost
weather.
We've lost so many games this spring with the rain and so on. So you got to dress warm. Let's go.
Yes, all right. So after you've decided what you want to officiate, find a class. The organization that Mike mentioned earlier, IACO, which is an acronym for Interathletic Council of Officials, offers free classes for officials in baseball, softball, basketball,
Football.
and football. Classes are anywhere from 4 to 7 weeks long, 2 hours a night, and they go over the rules. They help you get into that rule book and learn your definitions and learn the different things. By mechanics, we mean where do you stand on the field? Okay, what are the signals that you use? How do you communicate with your other officials if there's more than one? What are the different philosophies? In football, if we called every single holding,
We'd be out there for
our games would never end. You have to remember, these are young people. Their attention span isn't forever, so you have to have some judgment. So you need a class will teach you all these things and help you start off on the right foot. I think one of the worst things is having a brand new official who's excited about officiating. They have their IHSA number. They walk on the field without any prior knowledge. They're in trouble.
Okay, you just described every official's first year. It's like being your first year teacher. You can have a master's in there. That first year, let's say I lost a lot of weight from getting chewed out by coaches. You mentioned mechanics. Mechanics is where do you stand if you have a runner on first and third? Do you run and chase after that, make the call on first? No, you stay at home. You got to play at home. If you go running down first base, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So rules, mechanics, very important, and that's what you're going to get from the workshops. You actually go out there. I really love the one at IOCA. We're going to come back to that, where you actually go on the field and
Absolutely.
Practice, rehearse. Right, Grady?
But that class really, and some of the details are how do you handle that coach that's being very aggressive? How do you handle that parent that's really causing a problem? Do you just ignore them? Do you have something to say to them? We also teach professionalism and conflict resolution in these classes because we understand parents get very involved in games. Coaches are very passionate about their games. They want to win. Their job as a coach depends on it. So how do we as officials handle all this? This all comes about when we are involved in these different classes. You don't have all the answers the first year, like you said, Mike, but at least it gives you some confidence and you're competent in the rules. You need to register with the IHSA. We already gave you the beginning website for that. If you go to one of the classes, then you can register through that class, and normally the fee is about half.
Yes.
So if you go online and register, it's going to be $70. If you go to one of these classes and register, it's $35 for your first year. Now remember, this fee is charged every year. You have to renew your license every year, and so you pay that $70 every year. So if you can get a deal the first year, I say go for it. So once you're registered, and here's our football classes that will be starting soon, and the print may be a little small, but we have Palatine. We have Malta, Illinois, which is out past DeKalb. We have Libertyville High School. We have a Chicago site. We have Elmwood Park, Lisle, Plainfield, Midlothian. So we've got 8 sites spread out through the Chicagoland area.
I attend the one at Haas Park. It's on there. 6 weeks. I do it every year. So even though I have my clinic, my clinics are good, I'm still going to classes. Still go take those classes. 6 weeks, hands-on, all the things you talked about, managing yourself, professionalism, coaches, mechanics. Excellent.
I've been part of this class for 18 years.
And-
I started out attending the class because I wanted to work on a chain crew. No one ever heard of a woman officiating football. And I enjoyed the class so much, they pushed me out on the field. I've been there ever since. But I go to the class every year at different sites.
And this class is free. Free.
Absolutely free.
It's a 6-week class, 2 hours a week, and it is free. No cost. So there's that excuse. You can't say I can't afford it. Come on out there. And it's fun. You know, it is fun to do.
Well, and one of the other things that you get out of this class, besides the rules knowledge, besides the mechanics knowledge, knowing where to stand, knowing what to do, you meet other officials.
Excellent point.
And that's so important because these are the guys that you're going to be working with down the road. And in football, you form a crew. So now you've got 5 people that you have from your class that you know how they think, and you think, I really want to work with these guys. And so that's another real big benefit of the class. The other thing is the assigners. As
The
you know,
assigners
the
are there.
assigners come to the class. They're looking for new officials. They say, we have freshman games, we have youth games, and they will sign you up.
They will let you know, you're a new official, I'm going to put you on this freshman crew. You're a veteran. Well, you're ready for varsity, etc. They will actually take the time to put you in the right spot where you can, it's a low pressure game. There are these leagues that are purely recreational, and that's where you really learn a lot of your bones. You make your mistakes, and the coach doesn't go ballistic on you.
Right, and so it's a great place to learn.
It is great.
All right, it's a little different application process. This is a paper application. It's still the same information. You still have to make sure that you give them all the information. They do ask if you have any felonies or whatever. All right, but that's not the end of it. Just going to the class and getting some games is not the end. You have to take a rules test.
Camera 1, take your time and get a close-up of this. Take your time, go back to the whatever, and then come back and get a close-up of this. Go ahead, Lori.
Now, this rule test is incredible. The top football or baseball or whatever officials write this test. It's taken online. You have to pass the test if you want to continue your license.
The test reads like a law manual. The book reads like a law manual. The test reads the same way. It's like passing a bar exam.
Exactly. It is not written by educators where everything flows smoothly. It's written by professional lawyers,
Yes.
judges. We have people.
Really? There are lawyers and judges who write those tests?
Yes.
I knew there was something wicked about those tests and evil about those tests.
But the tests are multiple choice. They're not easy, but there's lots of help out there.
Let me jump in and say this. When you join an association, you get together. There may be 100 people in that room. There's 60 questions. We go over each question. You are allowed and told to. It tells you print the test. This is your study guide.
Right.
You go in there. Everybody's going to give it 100, but you're not cheating. What we're doing, we're not saying the answer is A, number 2 is B,
No.
number 3. We're looking at the question, getting the answer, and then cross-referencing in these. You notice there were 2 pictures here. One said rules, one said case study. And that is how you really learn the rules, because you're not going to pass that test on your own.
No.
You won't.
No. And reading the rule book is another show all in itself, how we do that. But you need to pass this test every year, and that's why going to the association is so helpful, because not only they discuss the answer, why it's this answer,
Right.
what's the rule behind it, what's the philosophy behind it.
And each test for each sport you officiate. You don't just take one test and you're done. You do three sports, You got 3 tests to pass.
Right, and they're all in different seasons, different time frames. Concussion management test is another test.
Okay, 10 minutes, coming on 10 minutes.
And it's not that difficult. The concussion management test is a state law that every official, coach, athletic trainer has to take. You can take it as many times as you want. It's free. You just have to pass it in the end. So a lot of it is
With
common
85%,
sense.
80%.
Yes. So you need to attend a clinic. Now, I say clinic, I know what I mean. Mike, what does it mean to you?
So a clinic is actually, again, a lot of fun. It is huge. You get there to, let's say, some high school. And over here, the 20-year guys go to this room. And the 10-year guys go to this room. And the beginners go to this room. One room, they may discuss mechanics. One room, they may discuss rules. One rule, they talk about shining your shoes and getting your uniform together. And injuries, and you have a menu to pick from. And so these clinics will last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. There's lunch. I will be going to one, it's called a 7-on-7 clinic, where high schools are playing 7-on-7, not fully equipped. This is your practice. You don't get paid, but you go out there and officiate these games. It is meant for training for both the players and the officials. So a clinic can take on many different forms in many different locations and may be administered many different ways. But the point is, it says to the IHSA, I did attend a clinic, I do know the rules, I've done the basic. Think of it like boot camp. It's basically boot camp.
Well, everybody, I don't care what your rank is, has to go to a clinic at least every 3 years. There's always rule changes.
Exactly.
And so we want everybody in the state interpreting the rules exactly the same. So whether you're officiating in Johnsburg or
Texas,
Metropolis,
Florida.
Illinois,
Yeah.
you're doing it the same. So this clinic brings us together. They really focus on new rules. They drill down into what's actually the specific content. So they're very important. Join an officials
Here it is.
association.
This is where you're going to really learn, and this is where you're going to really work.
On many levels. We call these LOAs, which stand for Local Officials Association, and they're all over the state in all the sports. So you have to kind of look in your area, but you find mentors at these local associations. You may find crew members. You'll find the easiest way to get promoted. As you know, there are ranks of officials. When you come in, you're an X. When you
go level 2.
You have to work 2 years, 2 seasons, and then you have to pass another test and you can become R, which is registered. And then after you work 2 more years, pass another test, in addition to your rules test, you can become certified. And when you become certified, that opens the door to the playoff scene for you. They will not allow officials rated as X to do state playoff.
Right, and college ball, and potentially elsewhere. This is where you actually sit down, like Lori mentioned. You have a mentor. I have several mentors who have taken me under their wing, and we work on the same crews. And in one association, we meet every week. Every week throughout the season, we discuss rules. We look at film. He always starts off with, what happened with you last week? Do you have a particular situation? And that's when your knowledge really starts to accumulate and your confidence really goes up.
Yeah, there's always some crazy play that happened to somebody during the week that you need to see. After you do all these things, you want to go for promotion. And we just talked about the different ranks. So you need letters of recommendation.
Can you believe that? You have to, from an athletic director at a high school, an athletic director, not a coach. No, it has to be an athletic director who knows your work to write a letter of recommendation to move you up. As I said, this is an industry.
Well, and you actually need 3 letters.
Oh,
you can have
3.
One has to be an athletic director or school administrator, and then you can have 2 from officials, or however you want to divide it up. But you need to have letters from people that have seen you work that say, yeah, this is a good official.
And as an aside, okay, we're coming up on 5 minutes. I think this benefits coaches. I think a lot of coaches are going to be able to appreciate and realize what we as officials go through. We don't just pass a test and buy some uniforms. We are certified, we go through clinics, etc. So we're at the 5-minute mark. We make an excellent time.
And once you get promoted, you go for that playoff competition, and who knows where you go from there. You can go to college, you can go to the major leagues. There is a site on the IHSA website under the officials tab that lists all of the recognized associations. All right, so there are associations for dance and swimming. The second one there, the Athletic Officials Association, is over 100 years old. It's the oldest one in the U.S. The guy that wrote the original NFL rule book was an original member, but belonging to an association is important. On this site, there's also contact information, so you can see what services Cook County, and then contact them.
You
Say,
can
when is your meeting?
You can look up every official. I'm on there. You can look my name up and give me a phone call.
Right.
Because I'm lonely and old.
All right. If you need more
Got your
help,
pencil and paper ready? Get
or
your
take
pencil
a
and paper
picture
ready.
with your cell phone.
Yeah, okay. I keep forgetting.
I know, you got to get. There's the website for the IHSA. There's the specific website for
3
your
minutes.
license, where you can find out about classes for new officials at IACO. And then if you just need help, you can't find your uniform, you can't find a clinic, there's my email address. Feel free to email me. I'm part of my responsibility.
Oh, that's you, Lori?
Yeah.
Okay, groovy.
Part of my responsibilities for the different associations I belong to is coordinating these classes and answering questions. So if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Please mention the show, and I'll be more than happy to do whatever I can to help you.
Excellent. Lori, thank you again for coming.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this provides you with at least a motivation to, if nothing else, out of curiosity, go to the IHSA. You may decide and do yourself a favor. Well, maybe this is for me, maybe it isn't. But as you go through this website and see how much is available, which is so much, you'd be amazed. Like we said, bass fishing, badminton. It's not just the big sports.
Chess.
Yeah, regulated by the IHSA. So come on out. Have some fun. Come on out and play. Lori, thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Grady, roll that wonderful bean footage. And see you next month. Excellent. I knew you weren't going to